My name is Brenda, and this is History Coles Notes. So let's get started. I am sure that many of you have heard the term the fall of Rome. No, it doesn't mean that Rome fell off the face of the earth. This phrase suggests that some horrible event ended the Roman Empire, which stretched from the British Isles to Egypt and Iraq. By the end, there were no soldiers smashing down gates, no pillaging, and no ravishing. Now, the Roman Empire actually fell very slowly over hundreds of years. Since it was a long process, different historians place the end date at many different times. The date that seems to come up the most is 476 CE, which is when a Germanic king forcibly removed the last Roman emperor to rule the western part of the Roman Empire. But here's the thing. The city of Rome continued to exist, which is why many other experts see the rise of Christianity as the end to Rome. But then other people disagree with that and find the rising of Islam a more fitting end to the Roman Empire, which would put the fall of Rome at about 1453. In other words, guys, it's subjective. So how do historians think Rome fell? Just as the fall of Rome was not caused by one single event, the way it fell is just as complex. In fact, during the time of imperial decline, the empire actually expanded. It was during this time that an influx of conquered people and lands changed the structure of the Roman government. Emperors then moved the capital away from the city of Rome. Now, Rome actually started out as a small little settlement surrounded by powerful neighbors. By the time Rome was an empire, that territory that was called Rome was very different. It reached its greatest extent in the 2nd century CE. Some argue that the fall of Rome had to do with new geographical diversity and that all this territory was just too hard for the Romans to control. Which brings us back to the why. The Roman Empire lasted over 1,000 years, and it represented a strong and adaptive civilization. Some historians think that it was a split of the Eastern and Western Empire, and these being governed by separate emperors that caused the fall. But others believe that the combination of Christianity coming into the area, lead in their water supply, money issues, and military problems also caused the fall of Rome. Many others also add in incompetence by the ruling class and bad luck to this list. But interestingly, many other historians maintain that the Roman Empire didn't actually fall at all. It adapted to changing and evolving circumstances. So let's just take a minute and break this all down. Why Christianity? Over time, Christian church leaders became very influential, and this eroded the emperor's powers. And then came the barbarians and the Vandals. Now, barbarians is a term that covered the varied and changing group of people from out of area who were embraced by Rome, who used them as soldiers and for income for their taxes. But soon, Rome started losing territory and revenue from them. This is where the Vandals took over the Roman territories, which caused more income to be lost. This money was needed to support the Roman army, and without this, the army couldn't uphold the territory that it was maintaining. Now that Roman control over the military and population was lessening, this affected the ability to keep the Roman borders intact. As time passed, Roman citizens, which included soldiers and their families, were living outside Italy, and they started to identify less and less with their Roman counterparts. They then turned to those around them to bond with, and these were the Germans, the barbarians, the Christians, and the Vandals. Now then came the lead poisoning. Many scholars have suggested that Romans suffered from lead poisoning since lead was in their drinking water. This was due to their water pipes being made of lead. They also used it a lot in other things like glazes on items that came in contact with food or their cosmetics. As we're now aware of, lead contributes to heavy metal poisoning, which can cause a variety of problems or difficulties like with memory or concentration, mood disorders, and irritability. Many experts believe that this was a contributing factor, which I can see. Irritability turns into anger, anger turns into fighting, but for me, a much bigger influence is what many see as the biggest cause of the fall: economics. During these times, inflation and overtaxation was commonplace. Roman citizens, they started to hoard their wealth, and soon the barbarians started looting the Roman treasury. Then came a massive trade deficit with the eastern regions, and this escalated the financial stress of the empire's last days. So, did Rome physically fall? No. Did the empire collapse? Well, some believe for the reasons we said today, but others believe it just evolved with the times. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you can join me for more History Coles notes. Be sure to check out all the amazing content that we have on the Horrifying History channel, and be sure to follow us on social media. It is there that you'll be the very first to hear what's coming up in the Horrifying History universe and be able to enter some really cool contests. You can find the links to our social media in the show notes. Thanks again for watching, and until next time.